Look out the window, right now. See that dark blue van with the smiling arrow on the side? It just parked outside your neighbor's building. The driver rushes to drop a cardboard box on the porch and sprints away. You think it's a delivery. You think it's just a convenient way to get a new phone case or a pack of batteries. You are wrong. That van is not a delivery truck. It is a hearse. And it didn't come for your package. It came for your town. For every closed storefront on Main Street, for every boarded-up window, that van is the reason. 1 a.m, you're lying in bed, scrolling through the feed on your phone. You're bored. You're lonely. Your finger gravitates toward the app. 1 click and the dopamine hits. You order a back scratcher, a set of knives you don't need, and maybe a new keyboard. It's so simple. It's so cheap. You feel like the master of your life. But while you're pressing the quote zero button, the real world outside your window is curling up and dying. Look at the numbers, if you have the guts. Over 50,000 retail stores destroyed. 50,000 entrepreneurs who built their businesses for decades have gone down the drain. Toys, quote, won us. Circuit City, Radio Shack. These aren't just brand names from your childhood. They are tombstones. Huge corporations and small family shops alike turned to dust. Storefronts are boarded up with plywood because you traded a walk through town for delivery tomorrow by 12 p.m. Amazon doesn't act like a store. It acts like a classic abuser in a toxic relationship. Remember how it goes? First comes the quote to stage. He is so sweet. He is so generous. Free shipping, movies and TV shows included. Discounts that make your head spin. He tells you, quote 3, and you melt. You fall in love with this comfort. You think you've met the perfect partner. And then the second stage begins. Isolation. He starts cutting you off from the outside world. Your favorite bookstore around the corner closes. Couldn't handle the competition. The electronics store where you chatted with the salesman goes bankrupt. You are left alone. Emptiness all around. Just you and him. And that's when the third stage hits. Dependency. Now you can't buy batteries anywhere but from him. You have no choice. You're hooked. And suddenly, the prices stop being so sweet. Delivery stops being so fast unless you pay even more. But there's nowhere left to go. All other doors are closed. You think this is a free market? Hell no. It's a casino where Jeff Bezos is the dealer, the owner, the bouncer, and the guy peeking at your cards through the security cameras. To them, you aren't a customer. Forget that word. You are a data point, a line in a database. The algorithm knows you better than your own mother. It knows when you have your period, when you got divorced, when you're depressed, and when you're ready to buy junk to numb the pain. They use your weaknesses against you. They analyze every click, every lingering glance at the screen to sell you what you didn't plan to buy. This isn't trade. It's psychological warfare where you stand no chance. But closed stores and your empty wallets are just the tip of the iceberg. The real horrors are hidden where you never look. In fulfillment centers, where people pee in plastic bottles so you get your headphones on time. Did you think you were paying $139 for a Prime subscription? No, my little comfort lovers. The price is much higher. And today, we will calculate the full cost. 2017. Economic corners call it the retail apocalypse. I call it a massacre. Imagine a battlefield littered with bodies, only instead of soldiers, store windows. In 2017 alone, 8,139 stores closed. That is 3 times more than in any previous crisis. It wasn't a downturn, it was a cliff. Toys _quote_5_US didn't just close, it evaporated, taking 30,000 jobs with it. Sears, Gymboree, Payless, they fell one after another like dominoes. Malls turned into ghost towns, millions of square feet of empty real estate. Instead of neon signs, for lease signs that hang for years. But the victim here is not just shops. We lost something greater. We lost the third place. This is the social infrastructure of our cities. These businesses were the circulatory system of local communities. 60 and sometimes 70% of local tax revenues came specifically from commercial districts. This money went to fix your roads, to schools for your kids, to firefighters and police. These were the guys who sponsored the high school football team. You knew the bakery owner by name. You greeted the hardware store owner. Amazon doesn't sponsor your kid's jersey. Amazon sells it to you for $14.99 plus shipping. The money you spend there doesn't stay in your town. It flies away to Seattle, and from there to offshore accounts. Your town gets poorer with every package. The official version? Oh, it sounds very smooth. Quote 9. They will tell you these dinosaurs were too slow, too stupid to adapt to the digital age. Wall Street calls it quote 10. Bezos calls it quote 11. They want you to believe this was evolution, survival of the fittest. Right? Convenient to blame the victim for dying when you're holding the smoking gun. But let's look at the facts that don't fit into this pretty fairy tale. Anomaly number 1, the profit paradox. Retail is a low-margin business. To survive, you need to make money. But here's the trick. Amazon's retail division operated at a loss or broke even for years. They lost money on every box they shipped to your door. If a local bakery loses money for 10 years straight, it closes. If Amazon loses money for 10 years straight, its stock price triples. How the hell can you compete with a company that doesn't need to make money? This isn't business. It's financial cheating. Anomaly number 2, suicide subsidies. Why do the mayors of your cities pay their executioner? Did you know that local governments gave Amazon hundreds of millions of dollars in tax breaks to build warehouses? They used your taxes to subsidize a company that destroys other tax-paying businesses in town. It's economic suicide. The City Council gives Amazon a $15 million discount to build a warehouse that will kill 500 small businesses that paid taxes in full. Sounds like the ravings of a madman, but it's reality. And here is the nail in the coffin. Anomaly number 3, insider trading. Amazon isn't just a market participant, it is the market itself. They see every player's cards. You invent a great camera tripod. You sell 10,000 units. Amazon sees this data. Next week, the Amazon Basics brand appears with the exact same tripod, but 30% cheaper. They didn't innovate. They observed, and then they killed. How can you win at football if the referee is playing for the opposing team? 3 anomalies, 0 coincidences. This wasn't, quote, 12. It was a hostile takeover of the American economy. You think this happened because of, quote, 13? Cute. It happened because of a mechanism so predatory that the mafia looks like a charity foundation in comparison. To understand how they did it, we need to crack open the engine of this death machine. And for that, we have to go back in time. Stop. Stop looking at the empty toys _quote_14_US storefronts. That is just the corpse. We need to look at the weapon. Forget about retail. This story isn't about shops at all. This story is about infrastructure, about the pipes, wires, and concrete that hold the modern world together. To understand how they killed Main Street, we need to go back to 1994. And no, it's not about selling books. It's about control. Mid-90s. The era of the wild internet. Modems screeching, images loading for a minute. Everyone is trying to sell something online, but no one knows how. Jeff Bezos is sitting in a garage, but he doesn't want to be a shopkeeper. He wants to be the electric company. He wants to become the utility service for the entire internet. His strategy was called Quote 15, and the key word here is fast. While Barnes & Noble and Walmart were asleep at the wheel, thinking the internet was a toy for geeks, Bezos convinced Wall Street of a crazy idea. Profit doesn't matter. Territory seizure matters. Imagine a general saying, "We will lose half the army, burn all supplies, but we will take this hill." Investors nodded and gave him more money. Billions of dollars poured into a company bleeding cash. While the owner of your local bookstore lay awake at night wondering how to pay rent next month, Bezos was thinking about how to spend investors' money even faster. The need was obvious, but the task was titanic. The internet was chaos. Logistics was a nightmare. To move atoms, goods, as fast as bits of information, a new physical network was needed. Bezos started building warehouses. Huge, expensive, inefficient warehouses in the early stages. He built them where no one else was building. He was creating the circulatory system of a future monopoly. While eBay focused on software, Amazon focused on concrete and trucks. He understood, whoever controls delivery controls the world. Now let's change the scenery. Forget rainy Seattle. Let's move to Ashburn, Virginia. This place is called _quote _17 _. Here, among gray, nondescript buildings, beats the true heart of the empire. These are the Amazon Web Services data centers, or AWS. These are the colonies of the digital age. This is where the main resource of the modern era is mined: computing power and data. AWS is a money-printing press. Most people think Amazon makes money selling boxes. Nonsense. Amazon makes money by renting the, quote, 18 to other companies. Netflix, the CIA, Zoom, they all pay tribute to Amazon to exist. And this is where the magic of the colonial machine begins. AWS generates billions of dollars in net profit. In some quarters, this division brought in over 100% of the company's entire operating profit. What does that mean? It means retail could lose money. And it did. A lot of money. But Daddy AWS always covered the bills. Profit from cloud technologies was siphoned into retail to lower prices, pay for free shipping, and kill competitors who didn't have such a rich uncle. They used cheap land and tax breaks in rural America to build their fulfillment centers. They used the cheap labor of people left jobless after factories closed. It was a perfect scheme. Data and servers in Virginia paid for the war on the streets of Ohio and Michigan. Antitrust regulators looked the other way. Why? Because prices for the consumer were low. Quote 20, they said. They didn't see that low prices were bait in a trap. It's a complex scheme, I get it. Cross-subsidization, predatory pricing. Sounds boring. Let me explain simply. Imagine _quote _21 _. We go to the playground. You decide to open a lemonade stand. You buy lemons, sugar, cups. The cost of 1 cup of lemonade for you is $1. To earn enough for a new bike and buy more lemons for tomorrow, You sell lemonade for $1.50. Honest business. 50 cents profit from each cup. Jeff opens up next to you. He has the exact same lemons. His cost is also $1. But Jeff puts up a price tag, 50 cents a cup. He loses 50 cents on every sale. You are shocked. How does he do it? He'll go broke by evening. But you don't know one secret. Jeff has a rich dad. Let's call him AWS. Every day, Dad gives Jeff $1,000 for pocket money. Jeff doesn't give a damn about profit from lemonade. His goal isn't to make 50 cents. His goal is for you to get off this playground. All the kids run to Jeff. It's cheap. Your lemonade goes sour. In a week, you run out of money. You are bankrupt. You pack up your stand and go home to cry. The playground is free. And what does Jeff do the next day? That's right. He changes the price tag. Now lemonade costs $5. And if you want a straw, that's a Prime subscription, another $20 a month. The kids cry, but they pay. There's nothing else to drink. And the parents, our government, look at this and say, well, the first week the lemonade was cheap, so Jeff is a hero and an innovator. This is exactly how Amazon's retail division survived while losing billions. It's not business genius, it's financial bullying. You can't compete with a guy who gets paid to lose money. It's a cheat code in real life. Now you understand the context. Let's return to our heroes, independent retailers and chains like Toys R Us. They weren't fighting another store. They were fighting a financial algorithm. They played by the rules of capitalism. You need to make a profit to survive. Amazon played by the rules of monopoly. You need to kill the competitor at any cost. Retailers tried to resist. They created their own websites, introduced curbside pickup, improved service. But they couldn't subsidize free 2-day shipping. It is mathematically impossible if you don't have an AWS printing press behind you. Amazon raised the stakes in the game to a level no one else could handle. Quote, 24 became the standard. If you can't offer that, you are a corpse. The critical moment came somewhere between 2015 and 2017. Prime subscription reached critical mass, 100 million users. People stopped Googling products. They started searching for them directly on Amazon. It became a reflex. The trap snapped shut. The retail apocalypse began. The wall Bezos built, this moat with crocodiles around his castle, became insurmountable. The winner took it all. The losers, which is everyone else, went to the junkyard of history. The system was set. But how exactly do they keep you trapped now? How do they squeeze the juice out of those trying to sell on their platform? It is time to talk about the mechanism of betrayal. Do you remember Toys R Us? The official story says they died because of debt. That is a half-truth used to cover up a murder. Now that you know about the AWS money printing machine, let's look at the kill shot. It wasn't an accident. It was an execution. Small business wasn't killed by, quote, 26. It was killed because Amazon raised its, quote, 27 from 19% to 45% in just 5 years. Imagine a landlord who raises your rent every time you start making a profit. You either pay the Don or you don't do business on his street. It is a pay-to-play scheme. Look at the numbers. In 2016, Amazon took about 35% of a seller's revenue. By 2022, that figure crossed 50%. Half of every dollar you pay for a product goes not to the manufacturer, but into the platform's pocket. How does this work? Through the buy box mechanism, that very buy now button. 82% of all sales go through it. To get into that coveted button, you are forced to use FBA, Fulfilled by Amazon. This means you must pay Amazon for storage and shipping. If you try to ship the product yourself, cheaper, you disappear from the search results. You become invisible. It is coercion. It is racketeering. Billions of dollars flow from small business margins directly onto the corporation's balance sheet through mandatory, imposed fees. But this story has a shadow character too. Meet quote_31. Sounds like a name for a cute Loch Ness monster? In reality, it is a monster. It is an algorithm created for automated price fixing. It isn't a person in a suit making decisions. It is code. Project Nessie's task was simple and cynical. Check how high prices can be jacked up before you start screaming. The algorithm raised the price of a product on Amazon and watched if other retailers, like Target or Walmart, would follow suit. If they also raised prices, and their algorithms often just copy Amazon, then the price stayed high. If not, Nessie rolled the price back. This algorithm generated over $1 billion in quote 32 for Amazon. $1 billion out of thin air. Simply by manipulating the market. It is inflation created artificially. It is a tax on your inattention. And here comes the moment of realization for any seller who falls into this system. The moment the trap snaps shut. You realize you are not a businessman. You are not an entrepreneur. You are a serf on Baron Bezos's lands. You do all the work. You risk your money buying stock. You don't sleep at night. And the Baron takes a guaranteed half of the harvest. And if you try to leave, you die, because all the buyers are locked inside his castle. These are the quote 33 who won this game. Look at the stock chart. While windows were being boarded up on Main Street, Amazon stock flew vertically upwards. It was the greatest wealth transfer in retail history. Money flowed from the pockets of the local community, from the registers of 50,000 closed stores, directly into the accounts of the largest asset managers. Jeff Bezos and institutional shareholders like BlackRock and Vanguard became the beneficiaries of this slaughter. The company's market capitalization grew by hundreds of billions of dollars. Bezos became richer than any pharaoh in history. His wealth is not the result of selling books. It is the result of monopolizing infrastructure and imposing a private tax on all commerce. The crime is solved. The weapon was the algorithm. The motive was monopoly. The victim became the middle class. But what does this mean for you personally? It is time to sum up. Let's name the winners and losers, clearly, with numbers, without emotions. Who lost? American small business lost. Main Street lost. The local toy store didn't just close. The family that ran it for 30 years lost their livelihood. The town lost a taxpayer. Kids lost a place to go after school. We turned from a nation of owners into a nation of warehouse workers. 60,000 locations emptied out. Now there are vape shops or just empty lots. A legacy destroyed. Who won? Jeff Bezos won. Institutional capital won. They gained total control over commerce. They gained the ability to tax every transaction. Jeff Bezos bought himself a super yacht for $500 million. Think about that number, $500 million. That ship was paid for by the margins of the very businesses he destroyed. Amazon's market capitalization exceeded $1.5 trillion. the system worked perfectly. Wealth was siphoned from the middle class to 0.001% of the elite. Mission accomplished. Remember where we started? I told you Amazon is not a store. It is a toxic boyfriend. It is an abuser. Let's return to this metaphor because now you see the whole picture. Remember the honeymoon. For years, he drove you everywhere for free. He gave you gifts in the form of low prices. He made you feel special. He said, "You don't need other friends. You don't need other stores. I have everything." And you believed. You cut yourself off from the outside world. But now, the friends are dead. Local stores are closed. Competitors are bankrupt. You are isolated in the house he built. And guess what happens? The flowers stopped coming. Prime subscription is now $139. Search is clogged with junk ads that sellers paid their last money for. Customer service is a dumb bot that doesn't give a damn about your problems. He has you exactly where he wanted. Dependent, lonely, and paying as much as he says. You traded freedom of choice for 2-day shipping. We walked into this cage ourselves and slammed the door behind us because we were too lazy to get off the couch. We can't blame only Bezos. We clicked the button. We chose a dopamine hit over a neighbor. Convenience is the most expensive thing you will ever buy. In the end, it costs you your freedom. The circle has closed. We wanted comfort and got digital feudalism. Next time you see that cardboard box with the smiling arrow on your porch, don't smile back. Understand that you are feeding the beast that ate your town. That is the price of your convenience. The world is ruled by those who control the infrastructure, those who hold the pipes. Cui bono? Who benefits? This knowledge won't make you happier. Truth rarely brings happiness. It won't lower the price of a Prime subscription, but it will change how you look at your credit card statement. Most people will prefer to close their eyes and click quote 36. It's easier. But you watched until the end. You looked under the hood. I respect that. It takes courage to admit that our comfort is built on a graveyard. Next time you have a choice, Amazon or the hard way, maybe, just maybe, choose the hard way, while you can still choose. If you want to decode the next system ruling your life, subscribe. We have many more bodies ahead to dig up.